The clock's relentless ticking echoed through the house that night, each second carving a slow, painful wound across my heart. 24 years of marriage bound us, yet I found myself pacing the living room, a stranger in the space I called home. The dining table stood untouched, its candles unlit, the roast chicken I'd labored over now cold and forgotten. Diane, my wife, had mentioned a night out with friends, but after decades together, I knew her too well, her habits, her tone, the flicker in her eyes. That night, her gaze had revealed a truth she couldn't hide. She wasn't with friends. She was with someone else on a date, and I refused to let another 24 years pass before confronting the reality. The signs had crept in quietly, as betrayals often do. Diane's phone became an extension of her hand, guarded with a new intensity. Her wardrobe shifted. New outfits, more time spent perfecting her reflection before simple errands. She'd laugh at messages she kept hidden, her smile tinged with secrecy, and I caught the faint scent of a cologne that wasn't mine clinging to her. At first, I dismissed it as my own suspicion, clinging to the life we'd built. Raising 2 children, buying this house, enduring the grief of her mother's passing, celebrating milestones that seemed unbreakable. Who strays after all that? But then came the lie. Girls' night, she'd said, slipping into a black dress that hadn't seen light in years. Its fit more alluring than casual. Lipstick, heels, a spritz of perfume. Effort she hadn't made for me in ages. My stomach churned. My wife wasn't meeting friends. I could have stopped her then, demanded the truth, unleashed my anger or pleaded for answers. But something within me hardened. I thought of the sacrifices I'd made. Late nights working to afford our home. Forgoing trips to support her through her mother's illness. Setting aside my own ambitions for our family. If she was truly unfaithful, she didn't deserve my confrontation or my pain. She deserved accountability. So as she left with a smile that wasn't for me, I picked up the phone. My lawyer, with whom I'd shared my growing doubts days earlier, answered immediately. Tonight, I told him. Send the process server tonight. The hours that followed stretched endlessly. I sat in the living room, my eyes fixed on our wedding photo atop the mantel. We were so young then, she in her delicate lace gown, me in a suit that hung loosely on my frame, both of us radiant with vows we believed eternal. I murmured to the image, Diane, what became of us? What happened to our forever? The house felt hollow, each creak of the floorboards and hum of the fridge amplifying her absence. She was out there, laughing with another man, sharing whispers, perhaps even touching lips that once promised fidelity to me alone. Then, the sound I'd been waiting for broke the silence, the crunch of tires on the gravel driveway. Diane stepped inside, her cheeks flushed, a faint trace of wine on her breath, her eyes alight with a spark I hadn't ignited in years. She froze when she saw me, still in my work clothes, hands clasped tightly. Tom, she said, her voice wavering, you're still awake? Yes, I replied, my tone flat. I was waiting for you. She hesitated, setting her purse down, starting to speak. Listen, a sharp knock at the door cut her off. Confusion crossed her face as I stood to open it. A man in a suit stood there, holding an envelope. Mrs. Diane Walker, he asked. She nodded, stepping forward, ever polite. Yes. He handed her the envelope. You've been served. Her face paled as she gripped the papers, her gaze darting between the server and me. The man nodded curtly and left, leaving a heavy silence in his wake. Divorce papers, I said, my voice low, almost trembling. I know, Diane. Her lips parted, but no sound came. Finally, she whispered. Tom, please, it's not what you think. Not what I think. I stood, my voice sharp. You were with another man tonight, Diane. After 24 years. Tears glistened in her eyes, but I couldn't tell if they stemmed from guilt or fear of consequences. I didn't mean for this, she said. I felt empty. You've been so distant, always working. I laughed, a bitter sound. Distant? I worked those long hours for us, Diane, for this house, our kids, you. And you repay me by turning to someone else. She recoiled as if struck. I didn't plan it, she said. It just happened. That's what every cheater says. I shot back, my voice icy. You didn't plan it, but you didn't stop it either. She collapsed onto the couch, the papers trembling in her hands. Are you really willing to destroy everything we've built? 24 years, Tom. Our family, our memories. Don't you dare mention family, I snapped. You destroyed that the moment you chose a date over me. You made your choice and I've made mine. Her tears fell freely now, but I felt only numbness. I thought of the nights I'd held her through her grief. The joy of our son's birth when my tears outpaced hers. The laughter over ruined meals and broken appliances. It was all tainted now, poisoned by a single night that exposed the truth. I was never enough for her. The silence that settled over the house was suffocating. Diane sat, shaking, murmuring apologies that couldn't reach me. At last I stood. I'll sleep in the guest room tonight. Tomorrow you can start packing. Her eyes, desperate, met mine. Tom, please. I still love you. I paused at the doorway, my back to her. You don't love me, Diane. You love the comfort of me being here while you chase someone else. That's not love, it's selfishness. With that, I left her crying on the couch. The weeks that followed blurred into a haze of legal meetings, documents, and hushed talks with our children. Our daughter wept, somehow blaming herself. Our son, tight-lipped and furious, barely spoke to his mother. Diane tried to reach me, pleading for another chance, but her smile from that night, returning home after being with another man, steeled my resolve. The day the divorce was finalized, we sat across from each other in the courthouse. Diane's face was ashen, her eyes red from tears. I wanted to feel compassion, but all I felt was a void. When it was done, she whispered, I never imagined it would end like this. I looked at her, the woman I once thought I'd grow old with. Neither did I said quietly. But you ensured it did. She reached for my hand, but I drew back. That was the last time we spoke. Now months later, the house feels both emptier and lighter. I still catch myself setting 2 plates at dinner, still find traces of her perfume lingering on forgotten pillows. But the silence no longer chokes me. It feels like recovery. Betrayal doesn't just shatter your heart. It remolds you. It forces you to discover who you are without the person you thought was your forever. Diane went on her Friday night date, and I sent a process server. It was the most agonizing choice I've ever made, but it was also my salvation. In the end, it wasn't just about her infidelity, it was about reclaiming my self-respect, my peace, and the years I refused to let her squander. That, I've come to see, was worth more than 24 years of deception.